Good morning, Texas Pond Bass Master here. I hope you're having a great day. Happy 4th of July. It is a beautiful day for fishing. We do have a little bit of wind today, so hopefully y'all can hear me. Today I'm going to be using a drop shot. I've never used a drop shot before. I ran into a guy named Michael the other day and he gave me some hardware, told me how to rig it. I watched a couple YouTube videos on it as well. So I'm going to be trying that today. I have never, like I said, never ever thrown or rigged a drop shot, but we'll see how that does. We were fishing here the other day. I had fished for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, didn't catch nothing. He showed up within 10-15 minutes. He already had 2 or 3 bass. So let's see how we do today. So grab your rod and let's go fishing. So today I'm going to be using my SLX DC Shimano low profile bait casting reel. I've got it paired up on an H2OX Angler Academy rod. I really do love this combo. So basically what a drop shot is you tie your hook in the middle of the line. You want to make sure your hook is in the upward position. You put your 4, 5, or 6 inch worm on there. You can use different little creatures or swim baits. This is a robo worm that Mike gave me the other day. And he also gave me the hook. And then you have a tungsten weight there at the end, about 12 to 14 inches down. You have a tungsten weight there. And so then the idea is for the tungsten weight to sit on the bottom, your bait to be suspended up off the bottom, 12 to 14, 16 inches. And it just kind of sits there and floats like this in the current. And then the bass come up and take it. So there's a hydrilla line over here, so I'm gonna try it and see how we do. So you want to keep your line a little bit tight, that weight on the bottom, and then that bait is suspended up off the bottom. You can reel it in slowly every now and then. You can hop it. Depending on how much current you have, may need a heavier weight to keep it there on the bottom. It does take a little bit to get it tied. Took me 4 or 5 tries to get it tied. There's a fish. Oh. Did have a hit. Like I was saying, it did take me 4 or 5 times to get it tied right. First time I've ever fished a drop shot. So it's going to take some getting used to. Up here along the edge, I do get a lot of small hits. Either small bass or bluegill. But I'm excited to try to catch a fish. First ever fish on a drop shot. May not happen today. I don't have much time today to fish. I gotta go get a brisket on the pit. I've only got about an hour to fish. Come on, some little hits. It's gotta be small bass or a little bluegill. But I'm getting some hits. That's a good sign. Well, for some reason, I lost audio on my GoPro. I'm still waiting to catch my first fish on a drop shot. I have been getting some small hits. There's a fish. Yes! First fish ever on a drop shot. It's a small one, but it's a fish. She is precious. Let's go ahead and get her unhooked. Let's take a look at her. Another 3 years from now, she'll be a nice bass. Well, that's my first bass ever on a drop shot. I'm gonna go ahead and let her go. Well, got my second fish. On a drop shot. Another little one. I'll go ahead and let her go. Yeah. So I switched over to my Googan baby bass 6-inch green pumpkin lunker log rigged on a 3/0 hook, EWG hook, Texas rig. Picked up a bass out of that hydrilla. Stay on. Nice bass. Picked her up on the Googan 6-inch baby bass lunker log, Texas rigged on a 3/0 hook. I'll go ahead and let her go. So when it comes to weight, in the YouTube videos that I watched and the research that I did, most people like the tungsten cylinder weight. You can see it does have a little slot right there in the top. So when you run your line through the eye, you just pull it up and that will lock into place. But most people do suggest to go ahead and tie a couple overhand knots just to keep the weight in place. You can get them in different sizes, so depending on how strong your current is, you may need to go to a heavier weight. You can also use the traditional lead teardrop weights if you wish, but the tungsten cylinder weights seem to be the most popular for the drop shot. Now when it comes to hooks, you do want to use a straight shank worm hook. You don't want to use the EWG hook because on the EWG hook where this comes up, you have a small gap in between here, so your hookup ratio is not going to be as good. So you want a straight shanked worm hook. This one has a little barb on it to help keep the bait in place. So you could use that with or without the barb, that's totally up to you. But you do want to use a straight shanked worm hook, one of the lighter weight worm hooks, because you want it to be able to suspend up in the water and not sink down to the bottom, so you want a lighter hook. When it comes to your bait, the Robo Worm seems to be the hottest one out on the market. A lot of people like to use. You can use a 4, a 5, a 6-inch worm of your choice, but this is the Robo Worm. You can use different creature baits as well. The lighter the better, because you want that buoyancy. You want it to be floating up and down in the water. And then the different ways that you can hook it. Some people will just nose hook it through there. That is not weedless because your point is exposed. So that's one way you can do it if you have sandy or rocky bottom. Another way is some people do run the hook just through the head like that. That way when the bass does connect, it will pull down and then you'll be able to hook. And then the other way that you can run it is the way that I had it. It's not going to show exactly on there, but a Texas rig, and then that would be weedless. Well, it was a good day of fishing. I caught 2 very small bass that were so precious on the drop shot. My first 2 bass ever on the drop shot, so I'm looking forward to using it again in the future and catching more bass on that. It is a little bit hard to tie, like I said. It does take some getting used to. You can get some different size weights. Depending on your current, you can use a couple of different worms or creature baits on there as well. There's a couple of different hooks. You always want to use the straight shank worm hook. You do not want to use the EWG hook because you need that wide gap between the eye and the tip of the hook so you can land that bass. But it was a lot of fun. I did switch over and used my Googan 6-inch baby bass color lunker log, and I caught that other bass on that. That's traditionally what I use. So it is going to take me a little bit of time to get used to the drop shot, but I do plan on using it some more in the future. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe. I do appreciate your support. This is the Texas Pond Bassmaster. Get out there and go fishing. Tight lines, everybody, and we will catch you later.